Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cassandra from Craft to Believe After, and as always I am so excited to be chatting to you guys today. Now today I've got some very cute projects to show you, which I have been keeping myself busy with over the last week. Now we did have an Easter break over on this side. I had a lovely Easter weekend, a lovely Easter break. I hope to those of you who celebrate Easter you had a lovely Easter weekend as well. To those of you who don't, I just hope you had a lovely weekend in general. But the kids were on holiday last week, like a short midterm school break. My husband and I, we both had some time off as well. It was fantastic. We just did a few things locally here in and around Copenhagen. I love Copenhagen. There's always a lot to see. And right at the end of the video, I will include a few photos that I took to our recent visit, or we visited last week, Frederiksborg Castle, which is about 30 minutes outside of Copenhagen by train. Beautiful, my absolute favorite castle to visit. We've been there a few times. I never ever get tired of going there. So I hope you guys enjoy the few photos that I'll include. But I'll get to that part. I took a few of my projects with me, but I'll show you and I'll talk about it when I get to showing you. Now, let's get on to my projects for this week. Now, you guys, you would have seen, actually on the thumbnail of this video, you would have seen two bears. Now, they are the exact same pattern. It's actually a combined pattern. It's the same bear, but you can do a boy or a girl version, and it's Benny and Betty the bear. Now, I just did the boy version, so I didn't include for the girl you can attach a little dress, but I was working with variegated yarn. Now, as you would know, for those of you who've been with me for a short while, I am on a bit of a variegated yarn kick. I love how it works up. I love trying different variegated yarns to see how they look in a specific project. And for the most part, I've been doing bears and bunnies. Now, bears are my absolute go-to, absolute favorite thing to make crochet-wise. I love bears. I don't think I will ever get tired of making bears. There's just so many adorable bear patterns. And I was looking for a different type of pattern. Now, I have got a ton of bear patterns. I kid you not, I've got dozens. So there's no lack of bear patterns in my library. But of course, as with all of us crafters and crocheters and knitters, you literally can never have too many patterns. So as I do many times a week, friends, I was on Etsy just scrolling through the patterns, and I found this amazing, it was the cutest pattern. The shaping was cute, and I bought it straight away. I knew this would work perfect with a variegated yarn. Now, the first variegated yarn I used was the Lion brand ice cream yarn, which I have been loving lately. Now, you would have seen me use it on a bear fairly recently, another color of the ice cream yarn, the brownish one. I loved it. I love the feel of this yarn. This color is called Cherries Jubilee, and it's this beautiful pink and like a grayish purple, and it's like a light pink, a dark pink, grayish purple, and green. This is such a fantastic yarn to work with. It's a DK weight. I used a 2.5mm hook on it, and this was the first bear I created. Now, is this bear not adorable? He's got this big old head and like a tiny body, and then these cute little chubby feet. It is just so cute. Oh my word. When I made this bear, I knew I was not going to make just one. Now, let me tell you a bit about the yarn. I love this ice cream yarn, and I'm going to try and get a few more colors of it. It's not a yarn that's local to me here in Denmark. I bought it off the Joanne website. So, I did have to spend a bit on shipping to get it from, I think it came from the States. I don't know, they've got an international store, so I'm not exactly sure where I think it still ships from the US, but they've got a limited amount of stock that they ship worldwide. So I only had access to that specific store. So not everything that you can get at Joann's if you live in the States, for instance, but more than enough to keep me happy. But this ice cream yarn, you guys, I absolutely love working with it. It's soft, it's easy to work with. To me, it doesn't split a lot. The colors work up really nicely. So it's a very interesting color change because it's not the same length throughout. So it's sort of very random color changes, which I love the look of. So this was the first bear I made. So once I finished this guy, and he was a few days before we had decided to visit Frederiksborg Castle. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try and whip up a second bear so that I can at least take two with me to have some interesting photos at the castle. Now, the second yarn I actually chose, which is not the bear I ended up with, interestingly enough, I had some of this Karen Simply Soft Speckle, which was also part of my Joann haul. I made a tiny bunny with it on one of my Free Pattern Friday videos. And I had this amount of yarn left, which I thought would be more than enough to do a second bear, of which I was completely wrong, you guys. So I started with this yarn. I got to almost the top of the head of a second bear when I realized there was absolutely no way that I was going to have enough yarn at all. And I don't have any yarn in my stash that would have worked well with this speckled yarn. I don't have a similar color cream that I could, for instance, do the ears or the arms with. It was just, I just felt that whatever yarn I was going to have to use to supplement or to be able to complete the pattern would not, it would have annoyed me too much. So I ripped back everything that I did and I recaked this yarn. Now this was very sad for me, you guys, because I'd spent like a whole day crocheting a bear that I couldn't finish. And I was debating, should I just order more yarn? But to make it worth it with the shipping, I would have had to include a few more colors. And I felt to complete a bear, to spend that amount of money, I've got enough yarn that it wasn't a viable option for me, guys. So it was very, very sad for me to rip back like 3/4 of a bear. But I did it. And then I decided on a different variegated yarn. Now this one I received from my friend Pamela in the UK. Now she also sent the same exact skein of yarn to Caroline over at For the Love of Crochet. And then the three of us sort of chatted and we thought, okay, let's see what we can make with each of us having the exact same ball of yarn. Now Pamela, she's already posted 3 very cute patterns on her Instagram, and we were using the hashtag Animal Friends, so anyone can join in. You can go and check the hashtag, I'll put it down below, hashtag Animal Friends, what the 3 of us made with this specific yarn. Now this yarn I loved working with. It's a very, very bright variegated yarn. It's just so sunny and cheerful. I absolutely adored working with it, and it's called Wonder Soft Merry-Go-Round Double Knitting. So again, yarn weight 3, like 3 or a DK weight. It is from Stylecraft, which is a British, as far as I know, it's a UK yarn brand, but it's available everywhere. But this, you guys, is what I've got left from an entire 100-gram skein of yarn. I've got this little bit left, and I will show you what I made. Now obviously you know from my thumbnail of the video that I made another bear. So this was this cutie. Oh my word, I absolutely adore how he came out. I love it. He's absolutely fantastic. Obviously again, I did no color controlling. I just used the yarn as it came out of the skein. It's It's got again his little tail, his little chunky feet, which I absolutely love the shaping of these feet. I love it. I think this has to be currently one of my top 3 bear patterns. This I absolutely love. I will definitely make more of them. And to be honest, I went back to Etsy afterwards because this exact same designer has this shape in a bunny. And I also bought the bunny pattern. So, oh, I just love how it came out. So now I had my 2 little bear friends, my little variegated yarn bear friends. And I took them with me when we went to Frederiksborg Castle. Now my poor family, they are used to me taking crochet toys whenever we go to some or other nice place where I can get some good, interesting outdoor photos. I love taking photos in general. I love taking my toys, taking photos of my toys outside. If I get the chance, a lot of my recent toys I've taken indoors because our weather was miserable over the winter. But now that the sun's out and the flowers are out and the grass is green, I just love it. So my poor husband and kids, they just sort of walked behind me as I was looking for the perfect spot to take the photos. And I'm actually very self-conscious taking photos in public. Now, because it was a long weekend, there were tons of people at the castle. So to try and find a place where I could take a photo, like sort of away from where a lot of people would see me, is no mean feat. It took a while. My husband, he's just very patient. He was carrying my backpack for me as I tried to pose the bears. It was a lot of fun. Like I say, my family, they're very supportive. And they just sort of, they would also point out, there's a nice place to take a photo, or there's a nice place to take a photo. So it was a lot of fun. It was a fantastic day out. With some very cute photo opportunities for my bears. So at the end of the video, as I said, I will pop in a few photos. There's going to be a few random photos of the area surrounding the castle, and then of course a few photos which includes my bears, which I took at a few different places. Now the last thing I made, you guys, and I actually forgot that I had this pattern. It is from the designer Zip Zip Dreams. Now, when I finished this little bear, I had, I think, less than a skein. So this used, I think, more than half of the ball. So I knew I wouldn't have been able to get a second bear from the remaining yarn. So I looked for a pattern that I had that used less yarn. And originally I couldn't find one. And I was actually on my emails. I was trying to clear my personal email. Apart from the Craftedly Ever After email address, I've got my personal email address, and I was going through it. I was actually just deleting a bunch of messages, and I came across a pattern that I bought years ago that I've made many projects from, but I hadn't for some reason saved it onto my new iPad. So I'd completely forgotten that I had this pattern. I was so excited to find it, and it's from the designer Zip Zip Dreams. Now I've made a few of her patterns before. I've made a reindeer pattern, and I've made this bunny pattern. Now I will link the patterns down below, but is this not super cute? Again, a little shaping of the legs. It's got this tiny little tummy, and then a fairly big head compared to the size of the body that you make. And then it's got a very nice shaping of the head. So at one stage you do a lot of increases and decreases to sort of form little cheeks, which in the pattern you do actually embroider on, or you make little cheek patches that you then sew on to the sides of the head, sort of to bring out the shaping of the cheeks. Now I didn't do it for this one because I felt the bunny was already so busy. I didn't want to now put extra pink patches on it. And then the pattern has got this little heart-shaped, now I don't know if you can see the heart-shape, the yellow on the white, but this yellow is just a bit of the Bella Coco Confection DK that I had available. So I made a tiny little heart-shaped nose but this is a different heart shape pattern from the one in the actual bunny pattern. So the bunny pattern comes with a pattern for a heart that you put onto the nose. I used a slightly smaller one because in the pattern you make two separate pieces for the heart. So you do one side of the nose and then a second side of the nose, you know, the heart for the nose, and then you sew them together. It was just, I didn't feel like it. I mean, there's many heart patterns out there that you do like this one, all of the stitches inside a magic circle or a magic ring to form a heart. So that's what I did. But again, I loved how this yarn worked up. Now this little scarf, I actually didn't intend to put a scarf on the bunny, but this scarf was lying around. It is made from rainbow cotton 8/4, and if you would have seen the video where I crocheted the bunny based on Jessica's drawing of a bunny. Now she designed those seasonal bunny patterns for me. The last one I did was the winter bunny, and he had an orange little scarf. This was the first version of the scarf I made in rainbow cotton, which I didn't like, so I made a scarf in a different, thicker yarn. So I had this scarf lying around, and it was the exact perfect color that matched with his little body, and I thought, oh my word, I love it. I'm gonna put this little scarf on him because I do like a scarf for some reason on a toy. Many of my toys have got little scarves on them, and especially because the head and the body is made separately, so the colors you could see a bit more clearly where I attach the head to the body. Where this pattern that I really liked is you continue with the head. So you start with the feet. So the feet, the body, and the head is all one piece. Now, actually, you're supposed to crochet the arms in. So you make the arms first and you crochet them in. But I never do that. For some reason, I really don't like crocheting arms in as I go. So I always sew them in afterwards. So if you do actually this pattern as it's written, you will crochet the arms in, and then the only thing you attach is the little tail, the two ears, and this cute little muzzle. So this is actually a very nice pattern to do if you don't like a lot of sewing. But for my little bunny from the designer Zip Dreams, it is a lot of loose pieces. So the head and the body is separate, the ears, the muzzle, the little nose, the arms, the legs, and the tail. So there's a lot of pieces on this one, but this is some of the cutest shaped animals that I have come across, and I'm definitely going to make the reindeer again this year. Her reindeer pattern is so adorable. She's got many others. She's got, I think, a fox, and I don't even know what all the animals are that she's got. All this basic sort of shape, but they are so adorable. So I was so excited to come across this pattern that I'd completely forgotten that I had. Very cute bunny pattern. I absolutely love it. And as I said, this was literally what I had left of that yarn. I actually at one stage thought I was not going to have enough to finish this bunny, but because of the brightness, I've got a few DK yarns that I brought with me from South Africa that would have easily fit in with the colors on this bunny. So at the very least, I knew that if I'd run out, for instance, on the last leg, I could have used a tiny bit of my South African DK yarn and you wouldn't even have noticed it. So, but in the end, it all worked out. This is what I had left, or have left, from 100 grams of DK. It's 100% acrylic, premium acrylic. It was fantastic to work with. There you go. Merry-go-round double knitting Wonder Soft from Stylecraft. Absolutely wonderful yarn, and I'm so pleased with my hashtag Animal Friends challenge that I'm doing with Pamela and Caroline and anyone else who wants to make cute little variegated, bright, happy animals. You are welcome to include them in the hashtag Animal Friends. Alright you guys, I hope you've enjoyed seeing my projects for this week. Now I have just about finished my amigurumi mod project. I cannot wait to show you guys. This has been the most fun I have had working on a project in a very, very, very long time. I've been wanting to do a multiple craft project for ages, and the amigurumi mod has just been fantastic. I've absolutely loved it, and I hope that Caroline and I will do this very same challenge again later in the year. Who knows, maybe we'll do like a Christmas mod or a who knows what. I mean, Caroline and I are forever thinking up, I don't know, challenges and collaborations and things we can do with you guys. So I hope you're excited to join us. We've received quite a few photos from people who has completed their mods. You guys have got still quite a few days left. Please have your photos sent to us by the 21st of April at the very latest, so that we have time to include them in our videos. Alright, you guys, that is it for today. I hope you had a lovely weekend. I hope you're ready for the week ahead. As always, you guys, stay safe and stay crafty.